4th of July, fireworks in the sky, but the truth's still buried underground. Royal Low, yeah. They told me, wave the flag while the chains still clank. Told me praise the names on the blood-soaked banks. Told me freedom was born in the room full of men who wrote liberty down while they own human skins. So fuck your founding fathers and the myths they made. I don't pledge to the lie, I don't kneel to the page. You can light up the sky, I remember the smoke from the fields, from the ships, from the necks in the rope. You call it independence, I call it selective. You call it patriotic, I call it protective. Other stories so fragile it cracks when questioned. Truth knocks once and they call it aggression. Yeah. Red for the blood they spill, white for the lies they told, blue for the bruises left on the bodies they sold. Don't ask me to celebrate what never included mine. I came with the receipts, I came to redraw the line. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people. If the truth still gotta hide, yeah. No justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roots scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, I'm lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. They say, look how far we came. I say, look what it cost. Every courthouse got a shadow, every victory got lost. They gave statues to the takers, made heroes out of thieves. Put their faces on the money while the hungry couldn't breathe. Don't lecture me on freedom from a stolen land stage. Don't quote old documents with blood on the page. Don't tell me be grateful for a seat at the table when my people built the room and got treated unstable. You can't buy me through the truth, you can dress it in stars, but the anthem still echoes like chains behind bars. I don't hate the people, I hate the disguise. I hate when the guilty get praised as the wise. Red for the blood they spill, white for the lies they told, blue for the bruises left on the bodies they sold. Don't ask me to celebrate what never included mine. I came with the receipts, I came to redraw the line. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people. If the truth still gotta hide, no justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roots scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, I'm lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. Don't call it hate when the wound speaks back. Don't call it division when our name was fact. Don't call it progress while the system still bites. Don't call it freedom if we still gotta fight. I'm not here for comfort, I'm not here to pretend. I'm here for the children who deserve better than this. Better than myths, better than chains, better than flags used to cover up pain. So this one's for the ancestors who never got rest, for the names never written but who gave us their best, for the mothers who prayed, for the fathers who ran, for the babies born fighting in the stolen man's plan. This is not disrespect, this is correction. This is not rebellion, this is resurrection. You can keep your parade, I keep speaking the truth. I don't need permission to remember my roots. Royal oak in the soil, truth in the flame. If the crown came with silence, then I don't want the name. But if the crown means standing when the whole world falls, then I'm 10 toes down till the real story's told. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people. If the truth still gotta hide, no justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roots scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. Fireworks fade. truth don't die. Royal low. 4th of July. Not your midnight, not your life, not your version of my life.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time Queen Goddess goes live. Now, with that all being said, why isn't this posting? Okay, I'm trying to post something on X. But with that all being said, let's see who's in here. Hadassah, Betty Boop, Irma, keep it moving, keep it moving. Mel is here. All right, let's get into it. Leon, Bronze Flat Power God, Poetry Princess. All right, the Tanya is here. All right, Daughter of Zion. Shout out to all my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. I see you, Wayno. Okay, let's get into it. Before we do, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find her products at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she also sells beard oil. Okay, so that all being said, let's get ready to get into it. Give me just a second, please. I forgot to send my emails out. Hold on, beloveds. I don't know what I was thinking. Too much going on. Okay, so anyway, look. I've been telling you all about Nasty Grace, and she has been called out for filth. Okay, and I loved every minute of it. So we're going to talk about that. Um, okay, there we go. Okay, so as I was saying, she has been called out, and she brought out this fake arse witness. First of all, this man is lying. Okay, and I'm not going to say I'm not even going to say that it's an allegation. I'm calling him a liar. Because first of all, sir, if you witnessed anything, why would you just now be coming out saying anything about it after all this time? Okay, almost 60 days in. Yeah, he's lying. First of all, what he said didn't make any sense. Okay, none whatsoever. So you mean to tell me, well, I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to let you all hear it. Hold on, give me just a second. I'm almost done sending these emails. I hate when I'm so unprepared. This is totally unprofessional and reckless. Hold on, beloveds. Talk amongst yourselves for just another minute or so. And then we're also going to be talking about Akin Liverpool. Now, I had not heard about this young man's story. I remember the name from someone being in my chat. Some troll was in my chat a couple of weeks ago, maybe. It could have been a little bit longer. And they said something about, why aren't you talking about Akin Liverpool? And I said, first of all, I've never heard of him. I didn't know who they were talking about or what. And then it slipped my mind. But last night when I was doing some research, I just happened to come across a video of his mother. And so it's a very similar situation to Nolan's case. The only difference is the friends that he left with were Black. So I guess that's why they were like, oh, you're not talking about Akin, because I guess they feel like, oh, you're not talking about it because he was with Black friends. And I find that interesting because here's the thing. You know, the media has not even been saying anything about him. Because if they had, we would have heard about it. Because everyone that I talked to, none of them had heard about this story. And then second of all, we know why the media does that. They do that to, to stoke division and all of that. So we know what that's all about. But here's the thing. The bottom line is I really get annoyed when these minions, these maggots try to act as though we're not giving the same attention or we're having selective outrage when we focus on one story but not another. But here's what they seem to ignore. And I'm not going to say they don't know this because they do know it. Okay, they do know it. They just tend to ignore the facts. And the facts are this. Whenever a Black person is murdered by other Black people or another Black person, when the culprit is found, they're going to jail. They're going to go to trial and likely will be convicted and go to prison. What's not going to happen, I assure you, is a whole town, a whole bunch of people, a corrupt sheriff, a racist governor, a corrupt DA, a corrupt and shady medical examiner. All of these people plus others are not going to get together. Wealthy, prominent people in the community, they're not going to get together to defend and protect these Black people or this Black person. They're not going to engage in a full-on cover-up. They're not going to lie about the toxicology. They're not going to lie about the autopsy. They're not going to do any of that for them. And also, there isn't a history of Black people going around throwing other Black people in water and letting them drown. There's not a history of it. I'm not saying that it's never happened. Surely it has. If I were to dig, I'm sure I could find a few stories. But what I'm saying is historically, that is not the case. When these things happen, they tend to happen when it's people who don't look like us. And furthermore, they don't even have a basis or valid argument, in my opinion, for the simple fact that it isn't just Nolan. What about Dion Walton? I believe that was his name. Yeah, the young man that also died on July the 4th, out with his all-white football team with all-white coaches at a white person's house by a lake. What about him? What about all the others? Daniel Irving. Okay, the list really goes on and on. All of these people were absolutely out with people who don't look like them. So what are we talking about? So now you can go and find a needle in a haystack. You can go find one story of a Black man who died on a boat with his Black friends. And we're supposed to just say, oh, okay, nothing to see here with the other case. No, that's not how it works. Okay, that's not how it works, at least not for me. That's not how it works. Okay, so they could still miss me with it. Now, with that all being said, I absolutely, from just what I've learned of the story since last night, thank you, Tanya Beloved, for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. But from just what I have gathered from the story from last night, absolutely it's something shady and sketchy. Absolutely, I think there's foul play. Okay? And absolutely, Akin deserves justice, and no matter who did this to him, they need to go down. Just like whoever did something to Nolan does as well. So it's not about selective outrage. It's about there's been little to no media coverage on the darn story. And so people haven't heard about it. Not to mention, I would have to say, because I only found a couple of videos about it in the media. But also his parents or mom, who said she had him when she was 13, she hasn't been out there doing what the Wansleys have been doing. The Wansleys immediately, when they had reservations about how the investigation was going, they went straight to Ben Crump. They went straight to Ben Crump. They got a high-profile, prominent civil rights attorney to add more, to put more light on the story. Okay, because actually Akin's story happened in June. So his story happened even before Nolan's. But here's the thing. All these other stories, Daniel Irvin and a few others, they happened before Nolan's story too. And they were, at least in the media, they did get coverage. Now, again, we could say it's because they had, white people that they left with. And of course, that's it. Because like I said, the media loves to push division. The media enjoys stories with a racial divide, especially Fox News. Okay, and let's just keep it real. That's what the media loves. And that's what they do. And that's what they've been known for doing. So with that all being said, I'm just saying don't blame us because we didn't hear about the story, okay, as soon as it happened. Now, let's get into it because we have got to talk about Nancy Grace because I find it all interesting about the bullshit that she tried to pull. I already told y'all she was fake as a $3 bill. Okay. But so we're gonna get into that in a second. But let's talk about what happened to Akin. Let me pull this up. Akin King Liverpool. So Akin King Liverpool was only 23 years old when he was supposed to be on a night celebrating or out for a night celebrating with friends, okay, a friend's birthday party. And it ended with him disappearing from a charter boat in Miami's Biscayne Bay. And almost immediately, his family was left asking a painful, simple question. How does a young man disappear from a boat full of people without anyone seeing what happened? So on Friday night, June the 12th of 2026, Akin joined a group of for a birthday celebration aboard a 39-foot charter vessel. So according to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, there were 8 passengers on the boat, plus the operator. The boat left the marina at approximately 8 p.m., anchored near Hobby Beach around 9 p.m., and began its return trip at approximately 10:30 p.m. So, according to the FWC, the incident report, as described by NBC Miami, everyone apparently seemed to be aboard when the captain pulled anchor and started back toward the marina. Now, Akin was reportedly last seen dancing on the bow of the boat. Then somehow he was suddenly gone. Now, the official account says that Akin went overboard undetected during the return trip. So, in other words, investigators were told that nobody aboard actually saw the moment he entered the water. Eventually, one of the passengers realized Akin was missing. The people aboard searched for him, notified the captain, and the captain contacted authorities. And that is where this story becomes especially troubling for his family because they weren't merely grieving, they wanted answers from the very people who had been with him. Now, NBC6 reported that Akin's family said they attempted to contact the women who had been aboard the boat to find out what happened, but couldn't reach them. Even more striking, according to the family, their social media accounts had been deactivated, making the same guilty-looking moves as the other people in the Nolan case. Now, that does not prove these passengers were responsible for his death, mind you. Deactivating social media after traumatic or highly publicized incident can have innocent explanations. Sure, they can. And I haven't found it. They say they haven't found reliable reporting establishing that every friend literally told investigators that they didn't know anything. But from the family's perspective, that had to look sketchy. So, meanwhile, one person who did provide independent information was a friend who wasn't aboard the vessel. A person by the name of Deja Bryant told NBC6 that she had spoken with Akin on the phone while he was on the boat. She said he told her he was having fun and would call her when he got off the boat. Akin even sent her a photograph from the outing. Then communication stopped. Now, they said that detail matters because it establishes that, at least at that point in the evening, Akin was alive, communicating normally and apparently expecting to leave the boat and speak with his friend again. He never got that opportunity, sadly. The Coast Guard was notified at approximately 11:59 p.m. that a person was missing and believed to be in the water. What followed was a major search involving Coast Guard aircraft and boats, Miami Police Marine Patrol, as well as Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, Miami Fire Air Rescue, and other agencies. Search crews ultimately covered approximately 529 square miles, including continuous overnight searching with night vision equipment. Then 2 days later, on Sunday morning at approximately 11 a.m., Good Samaritans spotted a person floating in the water south of Brickell Key. Now, authorities recovered the body, and it was Akin Liverpool. And that's why the phrase "he fell off the boat" doesn't answer all of the family's questions. It describes a proposed mechanism. It doesn't necessarily explain the circumstances. If Akin was last seen dancing on the bow, who saw him last? Approximately when was that? Where exactly was the boat when the person last saw him? How much time passed before somebody realized he was missing? And where was everybody else positioned on the vessel? Who was recording the video? Where were there photos or phone metadata capable of narrowing the timeline? And perhaps most importantly, if nobody actually saw Akin go overboard, how was it determined that he simply went overboard accidentally? Now, of course, these aren't accusations. These are just questions, the kinds of questions investigators have to answer by comparing witness statements against objective evidence. Now, there is another important fact. The investigation did not simply end when Akin's body was recovered. You see, the Coast Guard reported that the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission was also investigating the incident. And this is where the comparison comes to the Nolan Wells case. You see, in both stories, there were two young Black men who went onto the water with other people and never came home. In both, the people who served potentially possessed crucial information. I'm sorry, the people who survived potentially possessed crucial information about the victim's final known moments. And in both, the family's questions naturally extend beyond where was the body found to what happened during the period when he was still alive. But there is an important distinction. The currently available reporting on Akin says the FWC account was that he was last seen dancing on the bow and went overboard undetected. It does not, based on the reliable sources, establish that another passenger pushed him, attacked him, deliberately allowed him to drown, or conspired afterward. So I just think it's all very sketchy that no one saw him go off the boat. If he fell overboard, my thing is, shouldn't there have been a huge splash in the water and nobody heard it? And the person that saw him dancing, so he was dancing by himself, because people usually dance with someone else. But okay, he could have been dancing by himself. But so what was the other person doing as they saw him dancing? So he's standing there on the bow of the boat dancing by himself, and they see him, they just look. Like, I don't know, the story just doesn't make sense to me. It definitely sounds strange. And then he was with a group of women. There were no other men there. Was one of the women, I wonder if one of the women was an ex or something, somebody he may have ticked off, who knows? But I find it all very interesting, to say the least. With that all being said, let's go to this report. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. His mother said she had him when she was 13. And he still did everything he needs to do, graduating from college and all of that. He was on his way.
Of a young man found dead in the water near Brickell is demanding answers. Akin Liverpool disappeared during a boat trip. His body was found 2 days later after an extensive search. Liverpool's mother says that she's heartbroken and frustrated as investigators continue to look into what happened. Florida Fish and Wildlife says that Liverpool was on a 39-foot boat with 8 other people when a passenger noticed that he was no longer on board.
I saw him before he left and he told me, I'll be right back. And I'm still waiting on him.
The 23-year-old had recently graduated from Barry University and is being remembered by family as a young man with a bright future. The investigation is ongoing. The mother of a young man found dead in the...
I mean, you see how brief that report was, right? Like I said, there's little to no media coverage about it. And it's just very sad because he was a young man with a bright future. Okay, by all accounts. Hold on. Let me pull up these videos real quick.
Akin Liverpool, Nolan Wells. Both go out boating with friends. Neither return. Both found in the ocean. One is getting national attention, the other is not. So I took the time to do some research, and all I did was copy and paste. I didn't add any words. I didn't take any words away. So let's see the similarity. Akin, on Friday evening, June 12, 2020, to celebrate a friend's birthday. Nolan, on July 4, 2026, Nolan Wells traveled by private boat with high school friends to Horn Island, an undeveloped barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast, for an Independence Day celebration. Akin, the captain immediately alerted law enforcement at approximately 11:59 p.m., sparking a multi-agency search. His body was recovered 2 days later, June 14th, near Brickell Key. Nolan, a friend on the boat, made the first distress call regarding Nolan to the U.S. Coast Guard around 11 p.m. that night. His body was found 2 days later, June 6th, on the island's northwest shore. Akin, the family has expressed immense frustration over a lack of clear answers and delays from law enforcement in confirming details. They question the timeline and how someone could vanish off a 39-foot boat without anyone noticing. Nolan's parents expressed profound disbelief to law enforcement and suspicion regarding the narrative provided by the surviving friends. They quickly identified 3 physical anomalies that did not match the official timeline. Akin. Family members revealed they tried contacting the women who were on the boat to find out what happened. However, they were unable to reach them, noting that the individuals deactivated their social media account shortly after the incident. Nolan's mother noted a complete lack of digital footprint on Snapchat activity from Nolan during the hours leading up to his disappearance, raising immediate parental concern that his location, data, or social media profile history had been altered or deleted. So neither of these cases, official autopsy has been reported or released. No arrests have been made in either case, right? Only one of the 2 similar cases is getting national attention from the media, activists, celebrities, and although both cases are extremely identical, so what are we talking about here? Why are we being so hypocritical about this? You got activists showing up for one and not the other. One of these 2 men's GoFundMe is up to $750,000, while the other one is only up to $13,000.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings.
Okay, I hate to see that. I hate to see that. I hope his family gets justice. Condolences to the family. May he rest in peace. This is really sad. And the main thing that bothers me about these situations, it reminds me of Jelani Day. Now, it's a totally different situation, but Jelani Day was killed by people who don't look like him. Okay, even though they want us to think that he just went out to the river, drowned himself. But the thing is, Jelani Day was 25 years old and was about to graduate from medical school. This young man had graduated from college and was on the way to starting his life. And I just feel like every time we have these scenarios, why is it always the productive Black people? How come no one's out here doing anything to these thugs, to these dope dealers? How come nobody's doing anything for them? That's what ticks me off. Okay, that's what ticks me off. The ones who are ruining the Black community, the ones that are out here, just out here killing people who look like them and just selling all kinds of illegal substances and all that stuff. How come it's never any of them? Okay, how come it's always our productive young Black people who've gone to college or are going to college and who are trying to be productive citizens? That really hurts my heart. That makes me so angry. It really does. Now, here's the thing. He apparently was on that trip with a bunch of women. Now, are women that nefarious? Well, some of them are, but I don't know what happened to him, but it definitely sounds sketchy. Okay, I don't see how he could have just fallen off that boat and nobody saw or heard anything. And then here's the thing. It was like a 39-foot vessel and there were only 9 people on there, including the captain. So that's not a lot of people to where you wouldn't notice someone missing. Now, maybe if it was like 20 to 50 people, you might not notice someone right away. But that small amount, less than 10 people, I don't see how you could notice someone missing. And he's the only man, because it sounds like he was the only guy there, because they keep talking about these women. So I definitely think there was some foul play. Absolutely. But you see, the thing is, they'll probably never be able to prove it unless somebody snitches. And see, that's why I don't go on boats. That's exactly why right there. I'm not even lying. I do not go on ships. I remember some friends years ago invited me on a cruise. Oh, we're going to pay for it, this and third. I told them I don't go on cruises. First of all, I don't want to be out there in all that water. Okay, I saw the Titanic. And no, it's a no for me. But for number one, that's for number one. But for number two, and plus, I do believe that in a former life that I died by drowning. Okay, because I had this recurring dream as a child of always being out of this huge body of water. And I was just like, there was a tornado or something had blown me out there. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. But the bottom line is this just all sounds real sketchy. Okay. You go on a boat, a cruise, or whatever, and you can end up overboard and nobody knows nothing. How many times have we heard this story? How many times have we seen this movie? Okay. And who's going to get punished for it? Because if nobody says they saw anything, then what? They'll just leave it to, well, he accidentally or she accidentally fell overboard. So, yeah, it's a no for me. It's a no for me. Okay. I don't know. Lieutenant Muxwell said the queen ain't the girl from Atlantis. Sit down somewhere. Okay. I've had dreams about Atlantis. I'll have you know, when I was a child, I used to have recurring dreams about that too. Now, let me continue. Yeah, like I said, that's a very sad and tragic thing. But my thing is they want us to talk about this like we're talking about the Nolan case, but there's really not as much to talk about. You see, the people who were with him, they have not come out and done interviews. Okay, see, the Nolan case, it just keeps going and going because of the things that the knuckleheads are doing. They're going out here giving interviews. They're getting caught up in lies. Okay, they're saying things that don't add up. I mean, they're giving us the content. You understand? Whoever the women were, and I don't know if he was the only man, but it sounds like he may have been. But whoever the people were that were aboard with Akin, they've not come out publicly and said a darn thing because I looked. They've not shown their faces. They've not done anything. And they say that they deactivated social media. So we don't have anything to really grab onto to run with, except for the little bit that we just got out of the media. It's not about selective outrage because trust me, for the people in the back who just think that it's all about that for us and we don't hold our own accountable, that's not what Black people do. That's what y'all do. That's what y'all do. See, y'all don't hold y'all's people accountable, maggots. That's why y'all don't give a damn that Austin Metcalf was a whole racist, thugged out bully who got it from his father. Okay, who attacked Carmelo, who had talked about killing people earlier, who had brought a knife and was threatening to bring a gun to school for someone, and even beat up his own father, tore his rotator cuff, grabbed the mother by the throat, him or his brother. I can't tell which one was which in the picture, but y'all don't care about that. Y'all don't want them to be held accountable. And you don't want the people who may have done something to Nolan, even if it was to be found out that they absolutely did and we had ironclad proof, you still wouldn't want anything done to them. So don't sit there and try to pass judgment on Black people because we absolutely do hold our own accountable. That's what we do. We don't defend them when they've done nefarious things. And you may try to say that we do because of Carmelo, but we absolutely feel like Carmelo was defending himself. At least most of us feel that way. And you all feel that way too. You just don't give a darn. You see, because again, you don't want to hold your own accountable, maggots. See, that's the reason I even know about this story because maggots were in my chat that day, like I told you all. Oh, well, why aren't you talking about Akin Liverpool? I didn't even know who they were talking about. But now, as I found the information last night, that's when it brought it back to my memory. And I said, oh, this is why they brought that up. Because he was with Black folk. I don't care who he was with. His family still deserves justice at the end of the day. But the bottom line is, like I said, it's a history of nefariousness. And here's another thing, too. They want to talk about selective outrage when that's exactly what they have. It's not like they're sitting here saying, oh, y'all are not talking about him because they actually want justice for him because they don't give a crap. They don't care if he gets justice or not. They don't. They only bring it up to antagonize us and try to paint us as being just like them, as being no better than them. This is what the devils do. I want y'all to pay attention. But they could never make me feel bad because I'm attacking racism at its core, because I'm going in hard in the paint about racism, always have and always will. See, they hate that because they hate to be reminded of who and what they are. They try to hide it. They've always tried to hide it for the most part. That's why the Triple K always wore a mask and capes to hide who they were. Don't hide. Be proud of yourselves and your hatred. Okay, don't get mad when people call you racist and say, oh, but I have black friends. You don't have black friends. You have black props. Okay, you have black scapegoats. You have black minions like Rage, Baden, Tap Dance, and Tatum. That's what you have. So that all been said, like I told you, that could never make me feel bad at all. D Major says Queens will go on Queens will go on, just not on a boat or ship. Yeah, exactly. Now, with that all been said, beloved, thank you for insight and your comment or your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay. Now let's read some of the comments. Stephanie said that part, Queen. Okay, you playing with fire says your life only matters if there's a racial spin. Sad as F. Yeah, that is what it looks like in the media, because that's what they love to do. But even then, it doesn't matter. See, that's the thing. Just because they put it in the media doesn't mean that it matters to them. They only do that to sow division, because that's what America thrives on. America thrives on racist division and hatefulness. That's what it does. And I've told you all so many times how, a journalist who died years ago, Max Weber, said that he had to make up stories of the African-American community. I mean, we know how the lamestream media, that's why I don't care for the lamestream media. Okay, that's why I don't care for them. Because that's all they do is lie, paint narratives, and try to sow division. And there's enough of that already to go around. We don't need them making it worse, but they will continue to, because that's what they've always done. You see, the media in the United States is owned by the same people, okay? All owned by the same people. It's like 5 different people that own all of the media in the United States. So that all been said, it is what it is. So now let's continue, because quite frankly, Tracestin and Warren are just out here lying, because that's all they can do at this point, and making fools of themselves. We're going to get into Nancy Grace and that fake RS witness in just a second.
Are announcing that we have the audio from the officials, and we have retained and are consulting with some of the foremost audio engineering experts to review those audio tapes from the CTO call in its entirety. We also, and Attorney Hertz may go into greater detail on these matters, have consulted President Mariel with oceanic engineering experts to talk about how these facts are lining up. The fact that they say Nolan's body was found in the same location where they say they left him at. And so we want to know, how is that possible with the oceanic tides? We want the experts. I mean, you got low tides and high tides. It's not adding up, so we are going to dot every I and cross every T until we find out what happened to Nolan Wells.
Tell them being crump. And how about I saw a whole raccoon. She was talking about Akin as well. And she was saying basically that, how come we're not mad about it? She was calling us the N-words. Now, she's black herself, mind you. But she was saying, how come you ninjas ain't saying nothing about this and all this? And everyone in her comment section, literally, who left a comment was all racist maggots. And they were all like, yeah, they don't even care. They don't even care if he gets justice. And she said, yeah. She was like, why didn't they go get Ben Crump for him? And she called Ben Crump a raccoon. And I'm thinking, girl, how are you calling Ben Crump a raccoon when he literally helps black people? She's the raccoon and doesn't even know it. Now, sure enough says, I can't believe they kept his body parts, and Nolan's dad and the men and his family is not going to do anything about it. Well, they are doing something about it. They're trying to find justice. Sure enough. What do you want them to do? Go out there and kill somebody so they can go to prison and still don't have justice? Because that's not going to bring justice, beloved. What do you want them to do? Go and start kicking in doors and acting like thugs and fools? Form a lynch mob and go do what the racist maggots do? Is that what you want? Yeah, they're not going to do that, and they have sense, and I wouldn't do it either. Okay? I wouldn't do it either. And if they were going to do something, I'm quite sure you nor me would know about it. Because I wouldn't think they would be foolish enough to broadcast it, beloved. Okay? I just wouldn't think they'd be foolish enough to broadcast it, is all I'm saying. I know I wouldn't broadcast anything like that. All right? So, because like Lil Wayne said, real G's move in silence. Isn't that what he said? So, beloved, let's not clown people because they may not do or handle things the way you think they will. They busted in the house in the beginning of Nolan's friends before it even hit the news. They didn't bust in the house. They went and knocked on the door. Okay, please don't sit there and listen to the lies that Warren told. You really think Tashima went there and kicked in their damn door and they didn't call the police? But they did call the police when the posse was going over, as they said, and when they were going over to Jackson's house or somebody's house. They called the police then, right? Yeah, they would have called the police on them had they kicked in the door. Don't believe the hype. Nobody kicked in any doors. They went over there and asked for his things. And at that point, they didn't know if anything had even been done to him. They were just looking for answers, as they still are. So, I understand. I get it. Some of y'all want to just throw down and all of that or whatever. I get that. But some people don't want to live the rest of their life in prison, okay, for something that they can't even change anyway. All right? The most they can hope for is that the culprits who did it get the punishment they deserve, beloved. Okay? But that's just what it is. I mean, this is not the Wild Wild West.
The funniest thing in the world to me is that Al Sharpton and Ben Crump thought they were going to march into Mississippi and start a little race war and no one was going to fight back. That no one was going to say anything. They were going to do like they always do, walk in, start a whole big thing, and everybody was just going to fall in line and believe everything they said. But they found the wrong kids to play with. They found kids that have a father or fathers and mothers who are going to fight back. Because you can bet your ass I'd have been fighting back too if it was my kids. If I knew my kids genuinely loved this kid and did nothing wrong, I would go to hell and back to prove it.
Karen, shut the hell up. Okay? Shut the hell up, Karen. You would do the same thing even if you knew your kids do it because people like you don't care anything about accountability. Please.
And I would sue anyone that wanted to make the statements that he's making. So he walked in thinking that they were going to just throw in the race card. Everybody was going to fall into line, donate to their GoFundMes, and just believe everything that he had to say. But he picked the wrong family. He picked the wrong kids. And this time, I hope he goes down, and I hope it proves that we're not all going to just sit by. No one wants their family destroyed. No one. It is horrible what.
Shut up. She's sitting here throwing dog whistles. Catherine says, yes, Queen, the truth is being hidden. And because those friends don't look like Nolan, they feel victimized. Shaking my head, a man is dead, but they have hurt feelings. Exactly. No accountability. That's how it always is. And Show Enough says, people are just repeating the same thing over and over again since July the 4th. That should tell us something. Well, they're adding more lies to it, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they're saying about the same thing, but they're adding more lies to the mix, as far as I'm concerned.
Happened to Nolan Wells. It is sad. I think what they're doing with his memory is even sadder because he was a great kid and no one's going to think about that. They're all going to think about Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, and that's sad.
Girl, nobody's talking about Ben Crump and Al Sharpton except stupid people like you.
But I love the fact that these boys and their families are fighting back.
I'm sure you do. Yikes.
Trump thought they were going to march into Mississippi.
I'm so confused by your video. You sat there and said Ben Crump and Al Sharpton thought they was going to march into Mississippi and cause some kind of race controversy. Bitch, it's already there. I don't know what you're thinking. It's already in Mississippi. When you have young black people that have been found hanging from trees, and it has been ruled a suicide, and one of them had 2 broke legs. There's a problem with that, ma'am.
Thank you.
There is already a race issue in Mississippi. Ben Crump and Al Sharpton simply came to Mississippi to shine a light, to notify the rest of the nation of what is actually going on in Mississippi. They put attention on the state of Mississippi. They brought attention. They put the spotlight on y'all. And guess what? All eyes is on Mississippi. All eyes is on this Nolan Wills case. And you said in your video that they mess with the wrong families because these young men had fathers. Let's dig off into that. What did you mean by that? Because Nolan Wills has a father as well. If I'm not mistaken, he's in the household. But that was one of those little slick jabs that you tried to do. Mm-hmm. We know what you meant by it. Yeah. This is the thing. We don't give a damn about none of this shit you sitting up talking about in that video. What we give a damn about is transparency. We give a damn about integrity. And we want to know what the fuck happened to Nolan Wills. I can say this. If anybody had anything to do with Nolan Wills' demise, I hope they rot in prison. If anybody knows what happened to Nolan Wills and has yet to speak up, I hope they rot in prison. If any parent knows and they're trying to protect their child or anybody else, I hope they rot in prison. If you don't think the truth is going to come out, let me tell you something. The truth will stand when the world is on fire. And what y'all are so used to in Mississippi is covering shit up. You ain't going to get that opportunity this time. Because all eyes is on Mississippi. Can't believe you even got up there and made this fucking video. But I'm going to let them people handle you in the comment section. You'll take that video down or you will set your account to private. One of the two. Because you was a whole dumbass for getting up saying that.
I don't know.
Show enough said, and none of these TikTokers that are making these videos are not mentioning where his neck is. Well, how are they supposed to know where his neck is, beloved? What do you want them to say about his neck that they haven't already said? Because clearly we've all said that it wasn't sent to the second pathologist. What else is there to say? They don't know where the hell his neck is or what happened to it. Okay? We don't know where his neck is. I know I sure don't. We don't know what they did. We know why they didn't send it. But so how's that supposed to help if they throw that in for good measure? And if you don't like what people are saying about the cases and think everybody's saying the same old thing, beloved, why do you keep tuning in to people? Maybe you should stop listening at some point. That's what I would do.
Why she was there, like what was going on, but I was very surprised by this. I was like, like you just basically like kicked the door open and, busted up in the house with no knock or anything.
When they barged in, they started getting frantic. The mom asked for Nolan's phone.
Right.
Was there a struggle over it, or did you guys hand it over?
I mean, just handed it over. I mean, we didn't think anything of it. Like, she asked for Nolan's phone. We knew they were close friends with, the Wells family, and my buddy went out to his truck and handed the phone over. No, I know some of them, so eventually, like, things started to get heated, and I was just like, a guy I was friends with in high school, he was like, man, come outside with me. And I was like, all right.
Tracestin, or Miss Wells, said online, and I've seen it on the news and everything, as if she had to come and hunt you down to get this phone. Now, I know, Warren, you weren't at the.
Now, there he is lying. She didn't say anything about having to hunt him down. He grossly over-exaggerates, okay? This is all he does. He grossly over-exaggerates. He is so ridiculous. Okay, Shoduff, thanks for supporting the channel, beloved. You know what, Shoduff? I think you should go watch this movie. Is there a movie about it? Hold on. Let me just check something real quick. I think you need to look into this story. As a matter of fact, I did a video about this. Hold on, beloved. I think you might be interested in the story about the zebra killers. Yeah, they did have a movie about it from 1974. I haven't seen the movie, but I absolutely have done research on this. Um, Anywho, let's continue. It's about these black folk getting their get back. You might like that. Now, listen, just pay attention to how Tatum tries to frame things and always tries to add in these little things just to make it, appear worse than it is. Like, for example, last night I was listening to him upset clearly and butthurt and been out of shape because people have been dragging his ugly arse wife. And she is ugly. That's a fact. But anyway, he was saying his wife is beautiful, and then he went in on D.L. Hughley's wife. And who's the other guy's wife he went in on? I want to say, was it Bishop Talbot Swan? It was someone else, but he was going in on their wives. And then he said, the only reason that they don't like him is because I'm married to a white woman and they want me to hate white people. Where does he get this from? Huh? I'll tell you, he makes this stuff up because he doesn't want to say what the truth is. The truth is, Brandon, rage baiting, tap dancing Tatum, we hate you because you are a raccoon. Because you hate yourself and you hate the people who look like you. Now, I don't know what your mother did to you as a child, your father. I don't know how you were raised. If maybe you're, suffered some sort of trauma that filled you with self-hate. I don't know what happened to you. But at the end of the day, that's why we don't like you. We don't care who you're married to because we don't have to deal with it. We don't care who you're hanging around. We don't have to deal with that either. We don't care if you like white people. Some of us like white people too. We're just not raccoons. Okay? We're just not raccoons. Now let's continue.
House. And so you weren't there when they came to get the phone and all that.
He really getting on my fucking nerves. This is the fucking shit that I'm talking about. In the first interview, you said they busted through the house, knocking down doors. They were so violent. They were so aggressive, freaking out. A buddy you went to high school with call you outside and talks to you. Y'all give over the phone, no problems. Second interview, Tatum and yourself says that you were not there whenever the phone altercation happened.
Exactly, but gave such a vivid and very detailed and thorough explanation. Okay? As if he was right there when it all went down.
This is the fucking shit that I'm talking about. Like, are we okay? Because what the fuck?
I want you to imagine, like truly imagine, sending your 18-year-old son out for a holiday weekend with friends, only for him to return or not return alive, with zero answers. And that is the continued nightmare of Nolan Wells and his family. Let's get into it. But the true tragedy, the absolute injustice, it didn't end on that shoreline. It began there. Nolan's mother is drowning in grief. I mean, who wouldn't be as a parent or just as a human being? Yet instead of being wrapped in the arms of a community, she is forced to fight a system that feels completely blind. She's forced to hire national attorneys just to get basic answers. While she's out of town, looking for answers behind the death of her son, the district attorney's office drops a hostile, aggressive deadline demanding she hand over Nolan's cell phone, the very phone his friends claimed they left behind on a boat to protect it from salt water. This was the very phone that went missing, right? And then it was passed through multiple hands and supposedly had its data wiped or text messages deleted. Now let's talk about the people he was with.
Hold on. Let me stop right here. Patricia Hogan says, Queen, it was Michael Obama, and then had the nerve to put a heart. Oh, okay. You thought that was funny? You thought that was cute? Michael Obama? How about I put you in a timeout? I'll tell you what, Desmond, where's the moderators at? Can y'all put that person in a timeout, please, for 3 minutes? And if they come back talking crazy, just ban them.
These alleged friends. I don't know about you. Maybe I'm different. I don't know. But if I have a close friend who goes missing while they're with me, And if this friend is described as like a very close friend, almost like a sibling, almost like a brother, I probably wouldn't hire a publicist. I don't think so. And I also would not go on a polished PR tour on podcast after podcast. Within days, these individuals were on the Officer Tatum show and launching a multi-part podcast series to test out narratives, protect their own reputations, and claim that they left Nolan behind with the mystery girl while they tried to save a drifting boat. You don't leave your friends behind. You just don't. You don't. If you arrive at a place like an isolated, remote island, and you arrive there together as a group, I'll be damned if I let you stay by yourself. And I don't care if you've met a cute girl or a cute boy. Like the fight, we're gonna have words. We're gonna have an exchange. I'm gonna be arguing with you because I give a shit about you, and I want you to get your ass on the damn boat and come back, because I'm not gonna leave you there on an island by yourself. I guess I was raised with a different set of morals and a different set of relationship, friendship standards, and now I am raising black and brown children who are my children, and I am raising them to know that true friends do not leave you alone on an island. True friends do not drive away with your phone and your keys. They certainly don't hire lawyers to threaten civil rights leaders with defamation lawsuits just because a grieving mother asks a simple question, a simple agonizing question: what happened to my son? They were never friends at all. They were never friends at all, not real friends, and because friendship demands accountability. It demands truth. The state autopsy is sealed. The answers are locked away, but we cannot let Nolan Wells' memory be buried with them. We must demand transparency. We must continue to speak his name. We must continue to share his story, because this is the tragic reality. It forces black parents across America to continue having that agonizing, difficult, disgusting conversation with their children, warning them that no matter how close you think you are, you must be careful when entering spaces where you're the only one. Because when things go terribly wrong, proximity to whiteness will not protect you, and those you call your brothers might just leave you behind.
Nolan Wells update. TraceStin, you state that you was with your friend group the entire time.
From the time they showed up until now, going back to it, 20 minutes before they left, I was with them.
But later in the same interview, you state that after the fight,
I didn't stay on Horror Island much longer. So the objective, I was really upset. So with you hearing me yelling, my uncle had told me to get on the boat and wouldn't let me back off the boat.
This fight, which has a timestamp of 4:01 p.m. We know that the call took from 4 p.m. to 4:09 p.m. and that took 9 minutes for that phone call.
But the last time I saw Nolan, I was walking to the boat. This was before the fight. It's me and my old lady. We had just got out of a group of people. And not even 10 minutes after that is when I got into a fight.
So that would mean during the Cito phone call, you was having an argument at 4:01.
I was on the boat, I'm yelling, and shortly after that, I left the island. I left probably 30 to 45 minutes after I got into the fight. Going back to it, 20 minutes before they left, I was with them.
Were you allegedly still there after the friend group left?
I wasn't there to help him out in his last minutes. I have donated to the family, and I have given them just your normal death gifts, I would say.
What the fuck is a normal death gift?
Yeah. He said he sent them the normal death gifts. What the hell is a death gift? Okay, I caught that the first time I heard him say it. Anyway, all crazy. Okay, Timothy says, renormalize the talks with your children. Absolutely, beloved. Absolutely. Okay, listen. Let me just say this. It's a bit off topic as it pertains to Michelle Obama. Now, this is what I want to say. The people that have so much to say, negative things to say about Michelle Obama, are the same people that think that Melania Trump has class. Okay? These are the same people who think that a former PORN model that is now their first lady has class. Okay? That's what they think. And anyone with common sense can look at Michelle and tell that she's not a man. Who started that rumor? The maggots did. Okay? The maggots started that rumor. Michelle Obama is the best looking, most attractive, most intellectual, stylish, fashionable, okay, royal and regal first lady that we've ever had in this country. And Barack Obama is the best most charismatic, intellectual presidents that we've ever had in this country. And they're both black. So, of course, they're going to be hated on. That's just how it goes. You know, and I was talking to my oldest son just a few nights ago about racism. Or shall I say, he was mostly talking, I was listening. But, you know, he was saying that racism is nothing but jealousy. The same thing my younger son said a few years ago, and it is. It's all about hate and jealousy. Jealousy. And so my son said, when you think about who are the best of the best in this country, of everything, it's black people. Who's the best tennis player, female or male? Arthur Ashe and Serena Williams, right? Naomi Osaka is up there. Half black, half Japanese. Who are the best actors and actresses? Well, I would have to say Denzel, Angela Bassett, Loretta Devine, Viola Davis. Those are some that come to mind. Who are the best singers? Michael Jackson, Prince, Whitney Houston. There's others, but they're all black. Funny thing is, who are the main inventors of things that we use every day in this country? Black people. Okay? Who does everyone try to mimic, culturally appropriate, and be like? Black people. And that's why they're mad. Because no matter what genre, no matter what field, no matter what segment of society you choose to look at, and when you want to find the best of the best, it's always going to be black people. And that's just the facts. Okay? Who have the best genetics so that they're the fastest runners, the best athletes in general, football, basketball, baseball? Black people. That's just what it is. Okay? And that's why everyone should know who God's chosen people actually are. It's the best of the best and the most hated. They hate us just like they hated Jesus. They want to kill us just like they killed Jesus. They want to hang our people from trees just like they did Jesus. And some of y'all don't even know that in the Bible it tells you that they slew Jesus and hung him from a tree. Yeah. So it's all self-explanatory to me. See, that's why I don't really care what the millions think about us, how they feel about us. I don't give one single damn. Because the bottom line is the maggots, they just hate us simply because of who we are, and they can't do a damn thing about it. That's what it is. Now let's continue. Let's get into Nancy Grace, because honey, when I tell you all that Trent out loud, shout out to him again. You know Trent had it in him. Now, when I was sitting there going in on Trent at the Diddy trial, he could have gave me the business, but he didn't. Good for him. But the bottom line is Trent went in on Nancy Grace about her shenanigans with this fake arse witness that she chose to bring out. And I'm going to let him explain it. Okay? How he says she's two-faced, which I already knew. But some of y'all were trying to give her grace. I get it. But see, I never would. Because I've known of Nancy Grace. I've met Nancy Grace. You all know my professor, former professor, has been on her show. She didn't just start going on Nancy Grace's show or being on CNN when Nancy Grace used to be on there. No. Back when I was in college, she was doing the same thing. And we were on CNN because of a case that we were working on, a cold case. Because we had a cold case unit, or cold case squad, basically. And with that all being said, I've had the pleasure of meeting Mrs. Nancy Grace. And, I can honestly tell you that she is, in fact, a whole Karen, in my opinion. And I've always thought that and still do. So with that all being said, let's get into it. Like some, everyone, please like and share. Here we go. I mean, like I said, shout out to Trent because I love the way he went in on TMZ and as well as Nancy Grace. Here we go. Let me put an overlay.
Has been compromised. Nancy Grace is now working for the opposition. Or maybe she was working with the opposition from the beginning, and her first Nolan Wells interviews was just to draw us in. But regardless of how it began or how it ended, we are here now. And Nancy Grace is the new former Officer Tatum. I told you in yesterday's video that I was looking at Nancy with a side eye. And after Nancy just did this today with Johnny Hewitt, I am now fully convinced that Nancy is no longer with us. And y'all know I have the facts and the receipts to prove it. There has been a sad development in the Nolan Xavier Wells case. Sit back, relax. I'll tell you everything you need to know, and then I'll hand it off to you, the out louders, to let me know what you think in the comment section below. At around 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon, Nancy Grace put out a 1-minute preview clip of Johnny Hewitt, a innocent bystander that claims that he was on Horn Island and saw Nolan Xavier Wells around 4:30. I am going to play the clip for you, but before that, I want to play the setup for you, or I want to show you the setup to show you that this is not just your average interview, that this is the opposition trying to shift the narrative. And I'm going to show you how slick they are trying to do it. Well, not slick enough for me because I caught it. And I'm going to show you for those of you who haven't. Normally, what Nancy does is she will put out a snippet on Instagram or on socials, like we all do, that tantalizes us to tune in to the show. So when I first saw this 1-minute preview, I was like, oh, we're getting a back-to-back Nolan Xavier Wells YouTube crime time with Nancy. Okay, one was yesterday with John Gill or Josh Gill. I told you I hated that interview. Did a video about it. Most of you hated it as well too. But I was like, you know what? As much as I hated yesterday's interview, let's just take it with a grain of salt and give Nancy another chance. And I'm going to watch this one today with John Hewitt, who says that he's seen Nolan on the island at 4:30, asking him for a ride back. Okay, 6 o'clock comes around because Nancy always puts on her shows at 6. I go, tune in. I see Hayden Panettiere. The FBI swarms her house. And I'm like, what? I click live, I click video, I click, and I'm like, why is there Hayden Panettiere on here? Go back to the Instagram. I look, and I'm like, okay, maybe she's having 2 shows on. So I wait till 6:30, wait around, and I'm like, something is going on. I'm missing something here. Okay. I go back to her Instagram, and I see it's a collab post with Fox 1. And I look closely now at the description saying exclusive Johnny Hewitt, who was on Horn Island July the 4th, watch exclusively on Fox 1. Click the link in bio. I clicked the link in bio, and this is what popped up. You'll see next here to me, Nolan Wells bombshell. I was there on Horn Island, but when you click the play button, it will not play. Why? Because I'm not signed up for Fox 1. And you'll see here it says, watch 3 days for free. So now I got to sign up. I'm assuming I probably got to put my credit card information, and then I have to cancel in 3 days. I'm not signing up for Fox nothing, for free nothing. Y'all ain't getting my email, nothing. Okay. So you got to ask yourself, why are they putting this behind a paywall? And why are they putting out that snippet? And I'll tell you why. Not only are they using Nolan to try to get people to sign up and spend money at Fox 1, but what they're trying to do, the bigger play, is put out this snippet that says Nolan was on the island. 4:30, the boys left. He was still on the island. He was looking for a lift. And then that is what goes into the algorithm. That's what goes into the atmosphere. And the average person that it's not as invested as you and I hears, there was a witness, Horn Island, boys left, and he was looking, hey, what the boys are not guilty. Jax, Morgan, Bard, all of them, none of them are guilty. And that is what they are doing to shift the narrative. And it was more apparent when they were doing it on former Officer Tatum because we all hated him. But now they've realized former Officer Tatum is not working. Sarah Fields is not working. We got to get somebody that they trust. We got to get somebody who might not be fully on Nolan's side, but they at least watch and trust them. Enter in Nancy Grace. And putting this behind a paywall, we're not going to see it today because most of you are not going to sign up. And even if they do put this out on YouTube tomorrow, guess what day tomorrow is? Friday. How many people are sitting on Friday at 6 p.m.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. Okay. So she's trying to grift. Like I already told you all, she's only talking about this story to make money. Okay. For her views on YouTube. That's just what it is. She doesn't give a damn about Nolan. And then somebody, Rita said she believes the boys. I didn't know she said that, but I'm not surprised. Okay. I didn't know she said that, but I'm not surprised. Now, with that all being said, let's go to the actual report and hear what this man had to say. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you. Now, before we go to that, actually, let me just address a comment in the chat really quickly. I just saw it. Hold on. Hold on, beloveds. I literally just saw the comment. It was from someone. I want to say their name was Ayim, but they said that they normally agree with me on everything, but Michelle Obama is a man. I said what I said, my opinion. Well, you did say what you said, but don't try to get cute with it. And that is your opinion. But here's my question. If she is a man, how do you know? And where's your proof and evidence and facts and receipts? Because the last thing I remember is that she was born a girl. Okay? That's her and her brother as children. Now, if you have something to top this or to debunk this, because that's all anybody has to do. Where in the hell did they get pictures of her as a whole child, as a little girl, if she's a damn man? Make that make sense. Okay? Make that make sense. I'm sorry. Looks like a little girl to me. Now, y'all can sit there and be idiots and keep listening to the maggots. Some of y'all are just obtuse, and I really hate to see it, but it's the fact. Okay, it's just the fact of the matter that some of our people are literally obtuse. I mean, they will go along with whatever maggots tell them, and they'll believe it. But yet they claim they don't like maggots and they're not raccoons. Please make that all make sense. Now, Indigenos TV, I hope I said that right, says hit the like button. Exactly. Tell them again, beloved, in case they missed it. And thank you for that and for your contribution. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, talk about Michelle's a man, honey. Okay. Well, her body definitely doesn't look like a man. All right. She has a full-on woman's body, a fine body at that, and always has as far as I remember. So, and here's the thing. I've seen trans women who look 10 times better than Rage Baton Tatum's wife. Okay? And let me just say this for the record. If you find yourself, I'm talking to Black people specifically, if you ever find yourself agreeing, okay, in disparaging comments uttered by raccoons or maggots, and you don't think you're a raccoon, you're absolutely a raccoon. You just don't know it. Okay? And that's just what it is. Now, that's my opinion on that. I feel like any Black person who ever agrees with the same racist rhetoric as a maggot, you're a raccoon. Because only a raccoon would do that, because the queen could never. Okay? The queen could never. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction. And nor would I want anyone to think that I'm as obtuse as a maggot. Period. And that's on box, beloveds. Now let's continue and hear what this fake artist witness has to say, because he's clearly lying, and I'm calling him a liar. I'm not saying allegedly. I'm saying he's telling a whole damn lie.
Wells update on Nancy Grace's crime stories. A witness stepped forward. Older gentleman named John Hewitt. John said 4:30, the boy to the far right asked if he can get a ride with them. He saw the alleged friends on the boat leaving. Why would Nolan go to a complete stranger and ask for a ride?
Thank you.
A boat ride home without his phone, because his phone was on the boat with his friends.
Right. Make it make sense. You have other friends. Okay, you have other friends, because the guy says Nolan told him he had other friends there. Well, if he had other friends there, why would he go up to some random dude that he doesn't even know and ask for a ride? Make that make sense. See, these people are so damn desperate. They know that it's already hit the fan. They know that the truth is coming out because due to our investigative work, not theirs. Because even though they've been trying to cover it all up, we're digging it out. Okay, we're finding everything that they've tried to bury. We're finding it, and they know it. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. Right now, they're really, really nervous because Mrs. Wansley has subpoenaed those records, and they know what's going to come out with that all is given to them, to her team. But another thing I want you to pay attention to, and I told you this before, what they're doing is they're trying to build reasonable doubt because arrests are going to be made. Yeah. I didn't think so at first, but at this point, arrests are going to be made. Okay. I mean, they can't just blatantly not arrest anybody after all of this. And not to mention, how do you know arrests are likely going to be made? It's because they're still investigating and let them tell it. If there was nothing to see here, they would have already concluded, given their conclusion. I mean, they have the autopsy, the toxicology. What more do they need, right? But the fact that they're still sitting there telling us, oh, we're still investigating. Well, we know that y'all are just trying to figure out what the hell you need to do. Okay, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to figure out what you need to do. And what they're doing is they're trying to build up a case for reasonable doubt. So that even if they go to trial, any of them, if they go to trial, the jury will be confused. And they'll blame it on social media. They'll say, well, y'all were doing all this digging and y'all did this and that. But no, it's them. They're purposely trying to establish reasonable doubt. And they're doing a pretty good job, if you ask me. And compiled with that and the fact of their complexion and all the people in on the cover-up, because it's absolutely a damn cover-up. I don't care what they say. And this is not an allegation. I'm saying it's a cover-up. Now, I'm not going to say who's covering up because I think we all know without it being said, but there is a cover-up. That's just the fact of the matter. Okay? And they're trying to establish reasonable doubt so nobody gets punished for gets any consequences for what happened. Now, by his grace says, please pay attention. The man says the person on the far right side of the boat, that's not Nolan, it's Eric. Eric jumped ship and got away from them. Eric has barely been mentioned in this whole scenario, and Eric is the one who posted that post talking about something being done that could get 10 years in prison. And I believe Eric was serious. He took that post down, but I think that he was trying to snitch on them. That's what I think. I think that Eric was trying to snitch on them. I also think that Eric is the one who made the phone call to them that night. When Warren said one of our buddies called and he was frantic, he was irate, and rightfully so, and he was asking questions, and then, he suddenly hung up. Yeah, I think that was Eric. I think whoever that was, whether it was Eric or not, I think they felt like they did something to them. And here's the thing. It's very interesting that they're trying to go in on Black people online and even the white people online who are pointing the finger at them or who are making these accusations or who may feel, in our opinions, that they had something to do with it, because even people in Ocean Springs feel they had something to do with it. Even people who went to high school with them and knew them personally, who know them personally, feel like they had something to do with it. I already told you all that. Okay, they said it themselves. They said it themselves. So even people who know you don't believe you, yet you expect strangers to? Get the F out of here with the quickness. Okay? And so that all been said, by his grace, thank you for your insight, beloved, and your contribution. I appreciate you so much. Peace, love, and blessings. Irma says, Ed Prince, I'm nobody's idiot. I said what I said. What I have, my opinion, just like you have yours. So move along, grasshopper. I ruffled some feathers. Not Irma getting into it in the chat. Well, whoever that was that ticked off Irma, shout out to you for getting me a super chat donation because the queen needs her coins. So thank you, beloved, for your contribution. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Listen, I'll say this. Everyone in the chat, please let's be respectful to everyone else. Okay? Please let's be respectful. POP, hold on. Oh, is that who you were talking to? Prince of Paraphernalia? Now, Prince of Paraphernalia says, oh, you are an idiot, all right? So just deal with that and keep Michelle out your effing mouth. Well, here's the thing. Irma, you said something about Michelle, too. Prince of Paraphernalia, let me say this, beloved. You leave that to the queen as it pertains to going in on people on this channel. That is not your job. You're a moderator, and you're supposed to behave in a professional manner. And the last I checked, we just had a whole ass meeting about this the other day. And I told y'all 1,000 times I don't like repeating myself. Now, unless you want me to remove your wrench, don't keep testing me, okay? Because you have a very fly mouth, too. All right, just like D Major. But D Major is not a moderator. You are. So I'm going to tell you for the last time, okay? Don't be in here insulting anyone. All right? Whether you like what they said or not. And if someone says something that I don't like, I can address that myself. I don't need the mods to back me up. Thanks, but no thanks. Okay, so sit down somewhere and stop going in on people and calling them names and using profanity when doing so. Because I don't even do that. So you think I'm going to let you do it? Now have at it. And that means a seat. All right, so anyway, with that all been said, let's continue.
But we're going to go ahead and let Nancy and John Hewitt tell the story.
John Hewitt, why were you at Horn Island on the 4th?
Well, we go every year for the 4th of July.
Hold on, I'm sorry I had to interrupt, beloveds. Sorry I had to interrupt again. Irma says I was speaking about Nancy. Okay, well, I don't even know why POP is going in on you about Michelle, because I didn't see you say anything about Michelle. Now, POP, now you're looking real crazy because you clearly were going in on Irma for the wrong thing. Okay, because Irma wasn't even talking about Michelle. She's talking about Nancy. Now you really need to sit down somewhere, but let's continue. I don't want to have another meeting, and it's Friday, too. I have better things to do. All right?
And we were all out there with family and friends. We left at 4:30. We started picking up anchor. One of the young men in the photo that continues to circulate, the young man in the far right asked us for a ride at 4:30 and said that his friends were leaving. Could we give him a ride? And when I looked up, I seen the boat pulling out. It was loaded with kids. I seen them pulling out, and I told him that we were at capacity on my vessel, and did he have another way in? He said that he did have more friends out there, that he would just catch another ride. We saw some of the boys leaving, and then we saw coming in the channel, coming around Fort Point into Fort Bayou. I fussed at some of the boys that were in the water behind one of the boats. And later, now, we didn't know at the time how relevant it was.
Nolan Wells update.
Okay. He said, so at the time, we didn't know how relevant it was. Nancy Grace, you should be ashamed of yourself. Bring that lying ass man on your show. You know damn well he's lying. Okay, now, first of all, I want you all to think about something. Now, picture it. Picture this. You're on an island, your friends have left, and you told them that you were going to stay behind and ride with someone else. And you have other friends that you know are still on the island, even your coach. Because remember, the coach said that he spoke to Nolan. So you have other people out there. And you mean to tell me, and Javon was still out there too, mind you, because let's not forget that Javon said that when he came back after assisting his friend with the fight that went on, that the boats that Nolan had been on were gone. So Javon was still there, but he's going to walk up to some random man that he doesn't know and ask for a ride and then proceed to tell him, well, you know, I have other friends out here that I'll ask. So why would he ask you? Second of all, the man conveniently says that he looked out on the water and lo and behold, he says that he saw a boat full of the young men. So you mean to tell me, and this was around 4:30. Let me tell you how you know that he's telling a whole ass lie. Because for one, didn't the timestamp say that they left at 4:31? They were on the phone with Cito at 4:00. The phone call lasted approximately 8 minutes and 50 seconds. So make it all make sense. The math ain't mathing. And weren't they a more than a mile away from the shore when they were making said call? So he just looked out there and conveniently he saw them. How would he know out of all the boats that were still there? How would he know who was the boat full of friends that had left Nolan? Did Nolan point them out and say, yeah, there go my friends right there over there? Okay, that's them in the Triton, the 22-foot Triton. That's them. The boat's taking on water. How did he know what boat was them? Oh, I looked up and I saw a boat leaving. Really? And your boat was so full to capacity, sir, that you didn't have room for one more? Ha! Yeah, okay. It's all very convenient and it's giving BS. And that's all it is. And Sheriff Ledbetter, how much did you pay this man? Or Judge Ashley Cole? How about you? Or what about DA Angel Myers McElrath? Was it you? Was it you, Dr. Ben Hudson? Was it you, Dr. Bart Edmondson Sr.? Now, I'm not saying it was any of these people. Mind you, I'm asking questions here. All right, so what's really going on? Was it you, Governor Tate Reeves? Cajun Navy, do y'all know anything about this so-called alleged witness? Yeah, this is all lies and BS. Like I said, they're trying to muddy the waters, putting out false and fictitious bullshit information, trying to throw people off their trail, but we're not. We will not be moved. Like a tree that's planted by the water, we shall not be moved. Isn't that the song they sing in church when I used to go? So Straight Comment says, it was Ashley, the she-devil judge. I believe it was her. And the reason I believe that it would likely have been her, and I'm not saying for a fact that it was, but I'm just telling you, I absolutely think that she would be doing something like that. Because first of all, she's the first one who came out trying to defend them, even though she had nothing. Well, she might have had something to do with it, but she wasn't supposed to try to get involved because of her professional status. So I find that all interesting. But hold on, it looks like somebody sent me a video or sent me some information about another hanging. Let me go to that in just a second. Now, Mar USMC 313 says, thank you for the work you do. Well, thank you, beloved. I really appreciate that. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm appreciated from some of these nefarious people in the chat, beloved. And thank you so much for your kind words and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. All right. Clearly, Prince of Paraphernalia doesn't appreciate the Queen still in here doing exactly what I just asked him not to do just 2 days ago. Wasn't it just 2 days ago when we had a mod meeting? I don't know what the hell's wrong with y'all, but y'all gonna F around and make the Queen go off. That's what some of y'all are gonna do. Okay, and it's not gonna be cute. Okay, yeah, the video they sent or the information they sent about the hanging, I reported on this already on yesterday, I believe it was. But anyway, listen. At this point, like I told you all, Jada said you're absolutely appreciated. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate that. Now, here's the thing. Like I told you all, they're desperate and they don't know what to do. They know it's all coming out in the wash. And so now the best they can hope for is to try to muddy the waters and cause reasonable doubt so that even if anyone goes to trial, they'll hopefully for them be acquitted. That's what they're hoping for. Okay? But you know what I think? Black people, all of these Black people turning up dead in trees and water, bodies of water and all of that. I love you too, Reggie. Thank you, beloved. Feel like we need to start doing what our ancestors did Okay, all of you spiritually in tune people, y'all need to start manifesting. Some people call it magic. Some people call it whatever they want. I call it manifestation. I don't do witchcraft. I don't do witchcraft. But with that all being said, y'all need to start manifesting. Y'all need to start calling on your ancestors to lead you and guide you, okay, and how to deal with devils. Trust me, they'll tell you because I know exactly how to deal with them. All right? So start doing spirituals. And when I'm talking about that, you know, the word spiritual has the word ritual in it. So start doing spiritual rituals. That's what you should start doing. Calling on your ancestors, praying to the Most High, and doing these spiritual rituals for the devils so they can sit down somewhere. Okay? Start sending the same energy. All I'm saying is this, the same energy that the maggots are giving us through your spiritual connections, your spiritual practices, send that energy right back to them. Yeah, like a boomerang. Send it right back to them. Okay, please pay attention. So that all being said, hold on. Let me read a couple of these comments. S. Irene says, this is so frustrating. Eric got a ride with strangers at 5:30 with somebody else. They didn't see Nolan anywhere, but Eric may have seen Nolan last. I didn't even know Eric caught a ride back with somebody at 5:30. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even know that. Reggie said, thank you. I'm manifesting right now. Exactly. That's all I do. Okay. I'm the real McCoy says that Judge Ashakur is a straight up demon from hell. I believe it. I believe they all are. Absolutely. And let me tell you all something. This whole thing about them calling out Crump and Al Sharpton, trying to say they're race hustlers and all that, that's nothing but a distraction. That's just them trying to gaslight us and deflect. They're trying to act like these are the ones that made it racially divided. That's what they do. They're the only ones who've kept bringing up race. Do y'all notice that? How many times have I pointed it out? They're the ones. That's right. Showno says Psalm 91. Exactly. I read that every day. And in fact, me and my moderators used to get together and read that prayer and quote that prayer. It's a prayer of protection, a very powerful one at that. So Psalm 91 is what y'all should also be reading. Okay? Anyway, with that all being said, let me go to this report before I close out about these children, 163 missing beautiful children. Florida law enforcement has rescued them, ranging from the ages of 2 months to 17 years old. They had an initiative called Operation Statewide Shield, and the predators, some of them were arrested, and I love to see it, because if it's anything that I hate, is a PDF file. I think they all should be given the gas chamber.
163 missing children have been found during a Florida-led operation that is now being called one of the largest child recovery efforts in United States history. The 163 children ranged from 2 months old to 17 years old. Officials reported 46 recoveries through the Tampa Bay region, 41 through Miami, 32 through Jacksonville, 21 through Orlando, 12 through Fort Myers, 8 through Pensacola, and 3 through Tallahassee. Although this operation was organized and led in Florida, some cases took investigators beyond the state. FDLE says that the operation also resulted in children being located or recovered in 6 additional states, Puerto Rico, and 12 other countries. Children were all missing under very different circumstances, so officials said that some were runaways, while other cases involved custody disputes, unsafe foster care situations, abandonment, neglect, abuse, or suspected human trafficking.
That's a darn shame. I'm so glad they found those beautiful children. And it's really sad. Another thing that really gets me so upset is the fact that when the Epstein files were released, there was only a few of us on social media that were reporting on it. Some people didn't even seem to care. Some people didn't even seem to care. They didn't say one word about the Epstein files. And I find that very concerning. Because if you don't care about the Epstein files, either you're a PDF file yourself or you condone and agree with PDF files. Because how are you not mad? I just don't understand how nobody was raising hell about that, except for a handful of people. Y'all didn't find that interesting? Because I sure did. It was so many people who weren't saying anything. There was only a few of us literally putting in work on social media to bring the attention to it. And how I know that certain people absolutely just chose not to talk about it is because one of these people that I can't stand, and they can't stand me either, but they love to copy what I say. They were on their channel recently talking about moon crickets. Now, I'd never heard of a moon cricket. I didn't even know that they called us that until I read the Epstein files. I'm sure they call us plenty of other things that I don't know. But the bottom line is this particular creator was talking about Black folk, specifically the Nolan case, and saying that they were likely calling him or other Black people a moon cricket. They said it a couple of times. And I said, okay, so clearly you were watching my commentary on the Epstein files, but yet you didn't say a darn thing about the Epstein files, but you want us to think that you're such a proponent for victims and that you're so against predators. No, you're not, at least not white predators. You went in so hard in the paint on Diddy, but didn't do one single story on Epstein or Weinstein for that matter. And I find that all very interesting. See, that's how you can separate the real from the fake. Okay, that's how you can separate the real. I almost said the wig. Ha! Almost said that's how you can separate the wig from the fake. That too, but yeah, exactly what I said. Because you had all this smoke for Diddy, but you didn't have any for Epstein or Weinstein. Not a word, or any of the other predators that don't look like us. Okay, the Alexander brothers, for example. Yeah, I find that interesting. But we're supposed to take you seriously when you sit over there on your platform and try to sound like you're pro-Black, copying the queen. Girl, sit down somewhere. Because if you go look at her old videos, she sounds like a Valley girl. Because that's what she is. That's what she is. Now, that all being said, my work here is done for now, and I will be back later. So everyone make sure you have your notifications turned on. And enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Enjoy your strong end, not the weekend, leaving you in a weakened state of mind. All right. With that all being said, Gregory says, Queen, you did a great job with the Diddy case. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. You know, someone lied and said that me and another content creator threatened to kill them. Said we were going to do them like Diddy did Cassie. That's what they said. I find it all so interesting and clearly sad. Oh, but anywho, yeah, I'll see you all later. So everyone, please like and share, subscribe if you have not done so. Keep your notifications on. Each one, teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Everybody watch out. It come off as a race bait. Everybody get down. I think I see a raccoon. Duck down, duck down. You don't want that raccoon stuff on you. Oh, please tell me, raccoon. What the hell happened to you? Who did this to you? Tell us who done it. They dead wrong. Cause you the raccoon of the century. Never nothing good about your own people, never from you. You even said on your mask you deserve that. I'm been done with your beta mask. Oh, now you capping for them folks. Who you call the boys? Shut up. Shut the hell up. Please sit down. Everybody watch out. Here come off as a race bait on. Everybody get down. I think I see the raccoon. Duck down, duck down. happened to you? Who turned you? Who got in your ear? You used to talk one way, now you singing for the other side. You the raccoon of the century. Nothing good about your own, never from use on your master. You said she deserved that. I'm done, been done with the whole beta Mac. Everybody watch out. You come off as a race beta. Everybody get down. I think I see a raccoon. Duck down, duck down. You don't want that raccoon stuff on you. Oh, please tell me, raccoon.